This technique is off balancing our opponent to the far leg, making them post on one leg. This is like the bread and butter of Mantis Guard. If you cannot make somebody move that direction, or at least make them know that you want them to move that direction and threaten them enough that they have to overcorrect by shifting their center of gravity a little more to the other side, in which we're going to be able to use different direction kuzushi movements, then you're not going to be able to make anything work from here. The good thing is it's actually pretty easy to do once you get used to this. So as I have the Mantis Guard and I have an inside hook at the knee here, what I'm looking at doing is bringing him forward and off to the side to plant him onto his far leg and have this leg off the mat. Kevin is not as stable if he is standing on one leg. That should seem pretty obvious. The more I can keep him here, the more I'm going to have opportunities to create pressure. So what we're looking at doing is from here, I want you guys to first do it with no arms. That's why I haven't talked about the arms very much yet. If I'm able to use a cuff grip of the cuff of his sleeve, or here on the collar, or behind the knee, we're going to talk about that stuff. That's going to amplify my control, and I'm going to be able to move them even more. But I want you guys to get comfortable doing this with just your legs and just creating this pumping motion to put them off to the side. So here, I need to be able to create a bit of a pull forward, so it's important that my knees aren't completely tight to my chest. If when I'm getting this Mantis Guard, if I have my thigh and my knee already jammed up to my head like this, I'm too compacted at this point. I don't have any range of motion to go any further, and so I'm not going to be able to move them. I want to have that space. I have tight knee elbow connection already because I have my just because of the control scheme here. So I'm not worried about getting past here. I'm not going to have myself extended out like this, but I need to have that range that when I need to, you can see that my knee can move to my chest and I can start to get a little bit of movement here. This leg is going to be hooking at the back of his knee so that I have the most leverage to be able to move his outside leg around. I can do it even all the way up here at his buttocks, but it's a little bit more difficult to move him. It's going to be playing it's going to be dictated by the range of you and the size of you versus your opponent. Some people, depending on how much you've had to turn on your side, I have to externally rotate my hip to be able to hook to that far knee. And so that might be uncomfortable. So if we just turn slightly. So here, I can lift my leg up a little bit more here. So I'm not hooking like right at the very bottom, but I've tilted myself so I can hook at the knee here. And if I drop myself all the way on my side here, you can see how much my knee has to point outside and my hip externally rotates. That might be very uncomfortable, and it puts us in a bit weaker alignment. I can also do this at different stages where I can go a little bit higher so you can see that now my knee stays more upright. I'm looking to bring my knees to my chest, and I'm going to be rocking them out that direction at a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to first bring in, and then I'm going to extend out with my right leg to make him step. So as soon as he starts to step, you're going to see me accelerate his left leg. There. And then how our opponent reacts from there, we're going to get a bunch of different responses. But you can see now my knee is pointing up to the sky. I'm keeping him off the mat. And then we can attack from here, or as Kevin starts to drive back into me, that's what's going to allow me to start to create kuzushi movements where I accelerate his center of gravity in the directions that he's giving me. Hooking, here I'll do this even up higher here. So I'm not going to be able to necessarily accelerate his leg, but I'm going to have to do it with his hip still. So I'm going to bring everything into my chest, and then I extend once he starts to step. If I extend too much before he really steps, I can still get a reaction, but I'm not going to get as much. You see how little he responded there. What I want is, as he starts to adjust, I throw him. As soon as his foot comes off the ground, he is so much more compromised that then I can make him launch. This is going to give me such a bigger response, to give me that much more space to be able to do things like get underneath him. So let's just do one more from this angle. This is really like the most important thing that you guys have to work on that I notice some people have problems with. So here you can see his legs are a bit closer together, so it's really easy for me to get a nice hook here with a sticky butterfly hook at the back of his knee. I bring my knees into my chest. I can even take my arm and kind of hook at the back of my hamstring here if it's going to help you pull, depending on how strong you are. It shouldn't take strength, but just in the sense of depending on what your body's capabilities are. Here, Bring him in. You see the weight starts to shift off his heel into his toes. He's starting to rock forward. I lean him off to the side. I'm trying to shift his center of gravity into that outside leg, so then we've off balanced him. And so in the next few videos, we're going to just go over that same motion, but just the different ways that we can control our opponent's upper body to assist us with this motion.